Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be doing a case study on a YouTuber named Denmo. Denmo. Giving you the name of the channel. I don't want to put the subscription or the link to his channel in the YouTube video description because I don't want to platform this guy, what's happened around him and everything, and I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says on his channel. So if you want to go find them and learn more about it, you can. Now, we're doing a case study, so we're going to go over the events that's happened around him and his mistakes. And I'm going to give you guys some advice from his mistakes. So let's get into it. Demo, I think, is the equivalent of, I would say, almost the rake. In Robert Greene's books, The Art of Seduction, there is one type of seduction style, which is the rake, a man who chases women. That's his like main goal in life is relationships with women. And the problem with that is in today's modern society, it's a huge problem to be a rake unless you are very wealthy or you have a lot of power in society because the risks that come along with that in modern society. And unfortunately, Denmo ran into this. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about Denmo. Denmo just got charged with SAing a 20-year-old girl at a college party in 2020. He is now going to be serving 3 years in jail. And he was charged by a judge, I think. So I think this news has been around for a week, 2 weeks. So he has now been charged with that. He is now an SA. He's on the SA list no matter what. And of course, he appealed it and he's now on bail. So he's not in jail just yet. So if you don't know who Denmo is a high up high up figure on the niche in YouTube of dating for lonely men. So if you don't know, there's a lot of guys who are lonely and they want to learn how to. I don't want to be vulgar. I was gonna say something vulgar, but they want to learn how to find a girl to date and enter a relationship with and all that type of stuff. Is one of the high level figures in that. I don't know how many subscribers he has, but it's a lot of them. Now, of course, he talks about how to socialize with people, how to make friends in a new place, and all that type of stuff. But his main topic for his videos is how to get girls. Because I'm assuming easier, you get a lot more views. You get a ton of. It's a lot easier to make money off all that stuff because that's one of the major problems in today's world with a lot of guys. Like a lot, I think under 20 or 30 have have a lot of problems with relationships, dating and all that. So they're super frustrated. So they look on YouTube or they want a solution or stuff like that. And so they look up on YouTube on that stuff. So he's a major player in that niche of dating the guys. And so that's his success. Before that, he was a college student. He was the normal college student. He would drink a lot, go to parties, all that type of stuff, not really care about classes. He wasn't like getting all A's type of college student or any of that type of stuff. No, he was like the partier from what his I can see is. And then he graduated, got a couple of jobs. He started up his YouTube channel, and that's really what he's made a ton of money on and what allowed him to quit his jobs, working at different jobs was his YouTube channel. And so that's how he became successful was his YouTube channel. It wasn't like he had outside businesses or other stuff or, any of that stuff. So that's his main thing. And this is the case study part of it. I don't think this is a major risk. This is the number one major risk. So as a profile, as I study this guy, I am trying to think of what he did wrong. What were the major risks that caused this? Whether you agree or don't agree that the judge was right, that he should have gotten 3 years, that he was guilty or not, it doesn't matter. But there are some ways where he could have avoided the situation completely. And so I try to look at that. How could he have changed his behavior so this event would have never happened? You know, and also from what I was reading, he has another essay case pending against him. Okay, so it's not just one; it's two. So this is a big deal for him, and it's a big deal for his life. So let's get into it. Number one risk. if you're doing a niche, and I understand that you have to niche down on YouTube, I don't 100% agree. That's why I talk about completely different stuffs on YouTube. So you guys get to know about me. It's not about what I'm talking about or what specific topic. It's about me. Okay. I build a YouTube channel around me. That's what Dan Co recommends, and I agree. Because once you niche down, it's hard to do other topics. Your YouTube subscribers feel betrayed and all that type, but I don't want to get into that. So he chose dating as a niche, an easy niche. He does well in it. He's made a ton of money on it. He was able to quit his job. He's probably made $1 million or more off of this channel and off dating, choosing that as a topic to focus on all of his channels. The problem with that is it's a big risk because all we see on YouTube is his dating and all that stuff. It kind of cultivates an image as a playboy, okay? And that's a big deal in today's modern society because I no doubt know that as a judge or the jurors were influenced by his videos. So they get to see all of his videos and it's a lot easier to think this guy is a playboy and everything. And like I don't mean that in like a bad way. Like in today's modern world, I'm not going to judge him off that. Too much off of that. However, the problem is he was going around dating all these different types of girls, asking out for their numbers, dating them, having sex with them, no doubt. And so that becomes a problem because, what are the chances out of the hundreds of girls he's probably slept with, one of them he rapes when they say no, or one of them that he fights back, whatever it is. And so that becomes a problem. And so that's risk number one. And in today's world, it's very easy to have to go through these cases, okay? Because, even if Denmo was not guilty, he had to spend probably a year, 2 years fighting off all these different, fighting off that case and everything. His reputation would have been ruined if it got out. And now it's out, and his reputation's probably pretty bad. He would have lost his job if he had a job. So like he's a YouTuber, but if you're a normal person and you get a case like that, if you're a guy, then you could be fired from your job because the workplace, your employer, your boss doesn't want to get backlash, from it for good or worse. Like, so like, even if it's false, you still have a ton of damage to your life because of that. Um, and so I want to talk about this. So he cultivated an image. That's why I recommend, if you're ever starting a YouTube channel, don't just do it on dating advice or how good you are at dating or I pulled 100 girls or whatever or any of that type of stuff because you're developing uh, yourself as a playboy, that person that gets all these girls, that sleeps with all these girls or whatever. And then, the judge is going to look badly on that or it's going to shift the evidence in the other side's favor. Um, and so I really recommend you don't do that. Or if you do dating as part of your, niche or whatever, I recommend that you don't focus on it. You have other stuff. Maybe you also like reading, for example, for me, or you talk about other stuff, whatever it is. But you definitely don't want it to have your only niche, your only main topic for your video. So that's his number one mistake. Um, Number two is we're just going to talk about him dating all these different girls, going to parties. Okay, number one is he went to a party, okay, which I have nothing wrong with going to parties, however. However, he had a one night stand with this woman that accused him, and now he's going to jail for that he SA'd her. And so he essentially had a one night stand. And this is my problem with a one night stand for you guys. I give this advice. The problem is she could be crazy, and the next day you get in trouble because of it. She could completely ruin your life because it comes down to if there's no evidence, it doesn't matter. She can drag you into the courts on it, fight you over it, and there's nothing wrong. However, you have to deal with all the emotional damage. Maybe your friends betray you because of it. They don't want to hang out with you because of it until you're found that you're innocent. So it's a big problem, okay, for guys because now you have to go through this entire investigation and everything. So if you sleep with a woman, she can completely ruin your life, okay? And most guys are like, they don't get this. Like, so I don't recommend one night stands. Secondly, if you're a judge, if you're going off a case, and it's your word versus hers, well, it's a one night stand. And so there's nothing like, you can't say we're boyfriend and girlfriend, it's consensual, which that can be wrong completely. So I'm not saying just because you're boyfriend or girlfriend and you have sex, that's consensual or whatever. However, that tilts the evidence in your favor that it was consensual if you have sex, if you're boyfriend and girlfriend like for a long time. Like you've been dating for 3 months, 4 months, and you're together. You're confirmed together. That's different than if I had a one night stand and I just slept with this girl and never saw me again until she accused me of it. So that's the thing. So I recommend you don't have any one night stands. Like period. If we're just looking at the profile from the risk that you're going to be getting a SA case against you. Okay, compared to if you only sleep with a girlfriend that you've been dating for 4 or 5 months or 6 months, whatever it is. Okay, like I'm being, the court is going to look at it differently if it's your girlfriend for a couple months versus it was a one night stand with a random stranger that I picked up from a bar. Okay. So I really don't recommend it in today's world. It's not like 100 years ago where you were a knight or whatever and you could just rape the local villages whenever you pillaged them or something like that. And there were no laws against it or any of that stuff. Okay. So if we're looking at it objectively, right or wrong doesn't matter, but objectively, it's a big risk. We're talking about risk profiles, okay? Like, what are the chances this would happen in my life if I do this event versus this event, or I chose this behavior versus this other behavior. And so I really recommend you don't have any one night stands because this is the way to think of it. Every time you have a one night stand with a woman, you have a small chance of getting accused of SA. We're talking about if you're a normal guy and you're not raping people, okay, or raping women or whatever. If you have a consensual one night stand with a woman, whatever, and you do it once a week or something like that, okay, you go out to a bar and you hook up with a woman. There's nothing. This is the problem with that. You get a small chance that she accuses of it, she regrets it the next day, or you actually did it, whatever. She believed you did it, or you pressured it, whatever it is. Right or wrong doesn't matter. There is always a chance that that would happen. She might be crazy, okay, and she just wants to sue you. Maybe she doesn't go criminal cases, but then she sues you for it, and because she knows you're rich or something like that. Okay, so it's a small chance, let's say 1% chance. Okay, I don't want to be like it's 80% of women will do this. No, let's choose a low bar. 1% of women that you sleep with would do this. Okay, let's say you start sleeping around and you do it for a year, and you sleep with, or for 10 years, you sleep with 100 women. You're dipping your toe in the water, and eventually you're gonna hit that 1% of women who do that. Okay, so like it's a risk. Like I'm gonna tell you, it's a risk, and if you keep doing it, it's gonna be really bad because eventually the world's gonna strike back at you, and you're gonna have sex with that one woman who's crazy. Okay, that's just the matter of life. Okay, so I really don't recommend it because every time you do that, your chances of it happening are rising until you finally hit that threshold point where the world's like, we're gonna f him up, so we're gonna do it. When fate's like, we're gonna mess with you because you've been doing this crap, we're gonna do it. And so that's the problem is I don't recommend you have one night stands in today's world. As a guy, it's too much of a risk. Too much of a risk. If we're just not talking about we're not talking about the emotional damages of sleeping with hundreds of girls or any of that type of stuff, but I'm talking about the, physical, money wise, jail wise time, your reputation wise. It's just not worth it. Okay. And I'm just being completely honest if you look at it as a risk analysis. Number two, you don't want to have a essentially a YouTube channel just focused on dating or a social media just focused on dating. Okay, because it just cultivates an image of a playboy. And see, it's fine if you have a lot of money and a lot of power. Because if you do this type of shit, and you have tons of one night stands, you can pay them off. Okay, you can do like Donald Trump is. Donald Trump probably has tons of one night stands, and he probably just pays them off. We know there was Stormy Daniels or whatever and all that type that blew up and everything. And you can do that. Like if you have a ton of money and a ton of power. But if you're the average Joe, which is majority of my audience, probably pretty much all of my audience, like me included, it's not a thing to do. Okay, that's why in the book, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene, there is a seduction style called the rape. Only men can be it, but women have the equivalent, which is the siren. It's a really good book, but back to it. If you're a rape, that means your purpose in life is to chase woman. You're moving from woman to woman. You can't commit, but like women want you because they can think they can change you and all that type of stuff. You're the ladies' boy and everything. Whatever it is, that's the rake. If you want a better description, read the book. However, I don't. It's not a good thing to be a rake in today's world because as a rake, you're moving from girl to girl, different girl, and everything. Okay. However, no doubt, some of your past conquests, that's what a rake really is. They see women as conquest or whatever and everything, and they're really good with women or whatever. The dark triad type of guy and everything. The problem is some of those women will be scored. And in today's world, they can accuse you of SA, they can ruin your life. And even if they don't accuse you of SA, they can follow you, they can stalk you, mess with it's just a part of the real world. Like it's the same thing with a guy. Like if and most people on my channel, viewers on my channel, are not women from what I've seen on analytics, but it's the same way. Let's say you have a one night stand with this one guy and he's crazy and he stalks you or whatever, or any of that other stuff. Like it's the same way. In today's world, I don't recommend it, but it's especially bad for men. I think men it gets worse, but also women it can also mess up your life too. They can stalk you, they can do whatever they want, and it's just a part of life. And so I don't recommend that. But for guys, the rake is a completely style of seduction I don't recommend. Of course, like I said, if you're a millionaire and you have a ton of money and you can pay people off or you have a lot of power, then albeit. However, you have to have a ton of money. We're not just talking about millionaire like 1 to 10. We're talking about like 100 million or more. Okay, it's just I don't, but it's not a style of seduction that I don't think is risk worthy. The risk to reward profile in the modern world is not worth it. Like I said, go back 100 years, 200 years, it is what it is. But we're in the modern world and we can't just ignore that or anything. And like, it's not right for me to whine like, oh my God, we should go back to the laws and, how we lived 100 years. No, 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 no. I don't believe with that. Like, we have to move on and you have to stick with what happens to you and, what's in place in the world. Okay. So, like that doesn't matter. Who cares? Like if you think the world was better 100, 200 years ago or the rules and laws were better 100, it doesn't matter. You can't change it or do anything about it. All you're going to do is complain. Like that's all that matters. But we live in the modern day. So he built a reputation around being a playboy as a rake. He had money and everything, but he didn't have really any power or any of that stuff. From what I've seen, he probably didn't he didn't have a good reputation in the real world, or at least it wasn't bad, but it was like neutral at the very minimum. It wasn't like there were tons of people going out to defend him, you know, in real person, not on the internet. Because on the internet, you see all these people who are like, oh, that's so false or whatever. He shouldn't have been accused. It was his word versus her, whatever it is. Okay. However, all those people who said stuff online, would they go over to his court case and be a testimony of his character and all that type of stuff, and link your reputation in person to that person, to Denmo? I 100% bet you not. And so basically his whole reputation was as a player. And so what do you expect? So that's my thing is I wanted to make this video because I think a lot of you guys think, oh, I can do all these one night stands or anything like that, and nothing will happen. But look at Denmo. I want you to look at Denmo. Go read the news article. You can look up news articles on this guy because he was a pretty famous YouTuber. You can probably look up YouTube stuff on him. I saw that there was a local news covering him, not where I live, just in a random city or whatever where he lived or whatever that covered him. because he was kind of like a local celebrity because he was famous on YouTube or whatever, making money from YouTube. But like that's the risk, and I recommend you look at life as a risk versus reward. Um, in your terms of behavior. So you can ask yourself, well, will this affect me on later in life? Like if I do something really bad right now, well, 5 years from now they catch me on it and I go to jail for 6 years, 10 years. That's what happened to Dembo. He did that something bad, and 4 years later he came back to bite him in the butt. And that was only one of the cases. There's a second case, like I've said before, I think. So I recommend if you're going to be dating, I wouldn't have sex until a couple months, until you know that lady that you're doing it with is not crazy. Okay, that won't just mess up your life and do that. Now, of course, you can be in a relationship with a woman for a year, 2 years. You break it up or whatever, and then she stalks you and messes with your life, and you have to get a restraining order on her and stuff like that. But the risk is way lower, okay, than if you're having constant one night stands and then some woman feels scorned by you and or used by you and says, "Screw it, I'm going to go for it." Or I'm going to ruin his life. I'm going to try to ruin his life because my life sucks, so I'm going to ruin his life. Or for another reason, whatever it is. So that's just my recommendation. You don't have to do it, but I think as a risk to reward portfolio, and we're just talking about the, reputation wise, money wise, if you're going to go to jail wise, we're not talking about emotionally, what one night stands can do to you and other type of stuff as a guy. And so that's it. We're going to talk a little bit. So, how do you cultivate? How he could have done stuff better. One, he couldn't have done the one night stands. He shouldn't have cultivated his channel as a dating platform to kind of show that narrative as a dating coach, as a playboy, as a rake, as Robert Greene would say it. Number two is I would create a reputation in the real world. So you have to manage your reputation online. And that's what I talk about dating, the dating niche. You want to talk about stuff that is beneficial to your life and that, that shows you're improving in your life because it can't be used against you. No one's going to use against me that I moved to another place to apartment or whatever. I finally moved out of my apartment. My life's doing better. I'm learning to cook, learning to write and read and all that type of stuff, play guitar. Like, no one's going to hold that against me. I'm going to get a college degree, accounting college degree. No one's going to hold that against me. But if I'm dating or this thing happened to me with this one woman or whatever, I go around on the streets videoing myself approaching women or whatever, cold approaching women, like that would affect me. And so that's number one. You want to cultivate an online image that benefits yourself, that you want to curate very specifically so it doesn't get used against you because it's on the internet, so it can never be taken back. Number two is you also want to cultivate a not in an in-person uh, reputation, not just online. And I know with like a lot of Gen Zers and everything, people younger to me who are always on the internet, like it should, only have friendships online and all that stuff. I understand that too. That's pretty much with me or whatever. But you want to build a reputation that can protect you and stuff like this. Okay. I give the best example. Go to jail. Let's say you get accused that you stole a purse from a lady walking down the street. You go to court, and it's her word versus your word. If you're an outstanding citizen of the community, you volunteer every week, people know you donate to charity, you go to church, all that stuff, then there's going to be a ton of people who come out and speak for you. And like the judge will know that. They'll be like, so what's his history? Well, oh, he donates money, he volunteers, all the different stuff. Okay. And then it swings the case in your favor, whether you did it or not. Okay, we're not talking about morality or you stole a purse or not. That doesn't even matter for this case. What I'm saying is it swings the court case in your favor. That you're an outstanding citizen, you volunteer, all that type of stuff. Maybe you are you're a politician, whatever it is. Okay, a judge and a juror will look along that favorably. And they're going to ask themselves, would a person who does this stuff do it? Now, of course, there are some psychopaths who use this to their advantage. That's how they disguise their kills, if they're serial killers, where they're an outstanding part of a community and they do all this stuff on the side or so no one thinks it's them. Or you're a thief on the side, but you do all this other stuff that thinks people. I guess the classic example would be Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett seems like a normal man. He's made billions of dollars because he put his money in companies and he just sit and held the companies for 50 years, and that's how he's made billions and all that. But you have to ask yourself, what did the stuff he invested in himself in? He invested in Coca-Cola. That was his major fortune. Coca-Cola was one of the things that causes the obesity crisis that we have right now. That poisons tons of people all over the world. The stock price and his dividends that he got from the stock price rose as Coca-Cola spread its poison, because that's what it is, poison, across the world and got tons of people addicted to it. You don't think he has karma for that? That he made tons of money off the back of poisoning people? And you could say, well, he's just a businessman. He should be moral and all that stuff. I don't care. That's the part of it. He made his money off of that. Would you agree for that or not? But you can say that, oh, that's not a cruel thing to do, or he's just a businessman. Well, when you think about it, he's done insider trading. We know he's done insider trading. He got accused of it, and it was true when you look back in the records. However, people were like, oh, he's just an old man and everything, and he's about to die. He probably has 10 years of life left. He's made billions of dollars. It doesn't matter that he insider traded for a couple million and all that type of stuff. What are the chances he's done it more? We know he says, oh, we don't have I don't make any decisions on the board or whatever. I just let them run their company, and I sell out if their board changes or their company ownership changes, whatever that's BS. We know that's BS. That he's had decisions. He's been in a room with a lot of the leaders of these companies, and he's talked to them. So we know he's made decisions off that. He's the largest share owner of a lot of companies. You don't think he influences the decisions he make? No. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a rant, but he uses that reputation that he's built up. He even says his number one class was a class on how to communicate well and how to build like a reputation. That's what he said, basically, essentially. It wasn't that in clear words, but that was the best course he ever took, was how to build like a positive reputation. And so, like, that's just a major example. But like I said, sociopaths have used this to disguise that they killed a ton of people. Serial killers have done that. And, but I'm just saying, like, as a personal thing, that's why I think it's beneficial, if you can, to do this stuff, to volunteer, to kind of leave a record of you being a good citizen into the world. So if you ever have something go up against you, you can use that to fight back. And so that's just my pure opinion. That you want to have some people, you want to have an evidence of good deeds that you have done to prove that you're a good citizen, or that you're not breaking laws all the time, or you're a gang member, or whatever it is. And so I think that's it for the video. It's been about 30 minutes. That's just my character study of Denmo and a little bit about him. I don't know much about him, but I just wanted to study him in a purely risk versus reward ratio, not morality wise or any of that stuff, whether he's guilty or not. I've only read a couple of stuff on the court cases and everything, so I don't know if he's 100% or guilty or not. I haven't made up my mind on all that stuff because it doesn't really matter to me. It's just, I think he got what he got what he wanted. Okay, he got what was coming. He he was going to get a woman who scorned him no matter what. Okay. And maybe she was S8 or whatever, and it's not scorn or whatever. And he dipped his toes too far. And he let, basically, this is how I see it. He let the lust inside of him, and it wrecked his life. It's going to wreck his life. At least for the next year, 2 years, if he's innocent and he gets the appeal, 1, 2 years, his life was wrecked. And he's still going to have that reputation. A lot of people are going to believe that it was true that he S8'd her. And so he's going to have a ton of damage to his reputation no matter what. And so I want to ask, I wish I could ask him, was it worth it? Was sleeping with hundreds of girls worth it? And maybe he didn't sleep with that many girls. Maybe he slept with like 50. But was it worth it? And I would guarantee the answer would be no. Because let's say he did do it, and the appeal goes through, and it doesn't win, and so he's stuck in jail for 3 years. 3 years. That would ruin his YouTube channel, okay, completely. And also, he would be on the SA list. And so he'd have to start over. He wouldn't be able to get a job. And all that for, I don't want to be vulgar, but all that for chasing girls. And so he let the lust get to him. That's the thing is, but I understand because like as a guy, like, we have to deal with that. We have to deal with the demon of lust more than I would say women, unfortunately. Women have their own demons to deal with, but for guys, and majority of my audience are guys, we have to deal with the demon of lust. And yeah, it's just we have to deal with it. But so I don't recommend ruining your life for the chance that you get a girl. But you also have to realize in the form of sunk cost, okay, he was probably going to bars all the time. He was going to parties all the time. Maybe he enjoyed some of the parties, but like probably a lot of that time he was going to get a girl, like to hook up with. Like I'm being completely honest. I think that's what it was. Like no doubt, even if he loves going to parties and he's an extrovert and all that type of stuff. Doing that all the time and everything, I'm sorry, but no, it's not. He's probably going to get hook up with a girl. And so all that time sunk into that when he could have been doing other stuff. And he could have been doing YouTube, he could have done another business, whatever it is, making connections with people, making friendships with people. It is what it is. And I don't want to judge him, but I do. I look at it as a cost versus benefits. And it's just like not worth it. Okay. At least me for personally, I gotta ask you, like, I really want to know in the comments. I know I haven't looked at comments in a while, but that's my bad. I do want to admit that. I'm not gonna lie on you guys on that. But I'm being serious. Like, do you think it's worth it? And maybe if it was like one or two times, it would be irrational. The demon of lust got to him and everything, and so he hooked up with a girl, and it was in the heat of the moment. But for this guy to be a playboy, and he's admitted it that he slept with a lot of women and everything, that's part of his, the way of advertising. At least that's how I see it. It's it's just like how much time have you wasted into that? And so I hope I don't wish the worst on anyone, so I hope he gets better. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't right that he goes to jail for 3 years for SA or none of that, but I'm saying I hope he learns from this lesson in, 5 years, 3 years, however he's in jail. If he goes to jail, he gets better. Or if he gets the appeal and he doesn't have to go to jail, well, I hope he learns his lesson. But I doubt it. I doubt it. And the thing with this is, even if he's innocent, okay, and he doesn't go to jail and he has that YouTube channel for another 3 years, it's not like he can play into he's a changed man and he's not going to do this anymore. His whole channel is built on it. So they're going to want more. So the only thing he can do is reinforce that Playboy style of YouTube. Unfortunately, it's not like so because his way of making money is backed off of his YouTube channel. There's no way that he can't make videos on this stuff. Okay, because otherwise he loses his source of income and then he has to get a normal job and all this type of stuff, and he's probably not willing to do that. And so I don't think he will learn his lesson if he doesn't stay in jail for 3 years. And maybe that's God teaching him his lesson. Maybe if he has to stay in jail for 3 years, his YouTube channel is gone. He comes back, that he finds out that chasing women is not worth it. The way he's been doing, chasing all these women or whatever. Maybe he still dates and everything, and he finds a girl that he wants to be in a long-term relationship with, and he does that. And he does that for a couple of years or whatever, and then he gets married. Or maybe he just stays with someone for, years, not being married, but living together and all that and everything. But that's what I'm saying. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe in a couple of years I can look back and see how Denmo has done. Because I don't like to like wish the worst on him, but I think he'll learn his lesson. And that comes back to it. I had a guy. I want to do a little bit of a personal story. I had a guy who went to high school with me. Okay, his name was Harrison. He was on the swim team. I was on the swim team. I was the slowest. He was like one of the fastest. So he got away with a lot of crap from the coach and everything because he was one of the best swimmers. Okay, and the thing with it is he went to a party, and this was in high school. He went to a party and he hooked up with a girl, whatever. She accused him of that. This is what I heard from rumors. So he ended up spending about a year, 2 years fighting it off, having to withdraw from school because the school didn't want him to be there while the case was happening. It found out that he was innocent. That's what I was told about a year later, that he was innocent and that the girl was making up stuff. But he had withdrawn from classes for about a year. He had to do homeschooling, all that stuff. It messed up his life completely. He couldn't be on the swim team anymore. And so, he didn't get have that status as one of the best swimmers, on the team to get girls and everything. It completely probably ruined his life. I'm not gonna lie. And that was him. And I always took that as a lesson. I remember that, and that's part of the reason I remember that. Because that could have happened to me, it could have happened to anyone, or whatever. Okay. And it was a lesson that he had to learn personally. And I don't want you guys to have to learn that personally either. So that's why that's my advice. You guys don't have to follow it, but maybe it will come back to bite you on the butt. Or maybe you get lucky. There are people who get lucky. There are the serial killers that never get caught. There are the rapists who never get caught. The evil people who never get caught. Caught. Stalin was able to live for a ton of, a long time before dying, and he committed. I think he killed like 50 million people indirectly. Mao Zedong, I think his name was, the Chinese dictator after the Chinese Revolution. I think he killed even more people indirectly by starvation. He never, died poorly. Don't quote me on that. I know Stalin, I don't think died, but he was able to live. So like, you could be lucky. I'm not going to deny that, but I don't think it's worth it. And I don't want to play my cards right by trying to be lucky. I don't want to rely on luck. And I recommend you guys don't rely on luck either. That's my philosophy. Don't rely on luck. And so maybe you guys learn a little bit about my analysis on my thinking on the benefits versus costs, the risk reward ratio. Maybe you guys learn from that. Maybe I'll make another video on my mindset on that stuff. But that's it for the video. It's been about 37 minutes, a little bit longer than I thought. It'd probably be like 30 minutes, but that's fine. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys. This video, I'm going to be uploading it, but I'm going to have it published in a scheduled video because, or a scheduled time next week, or no, not next week, but in the next couple days, because I'll be traveling home to visit my parents for Christmas. It's about a 10-minute drive, but my parents were like, we'll just fly you down. So I got to do that. I'm not taking my laptop with me, because I don't want to have to like pull it out for checking in or carry a bag with me, that has to go on the airplane or any of that stuff. So I'm not bringing my laptop. I don't really need it. So you guys won't, you'll probably, you guys see this video, but it'll probably be in a couple days. So, but I hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas. I know I will. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week or the next couple days or whenever it is. Thanks for watching. How did you guys like the case video? I know I did a case study on Denmo because he inspired this video when I saw that happen. But if you want to read more about it, go look him up. If you want to know more about Robert Greene's Art of Seduction and what the rake is, I recommend his book. I don't have a physical copy. I should get a physical copy because I like that. I like the book online so much. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I've been scooting back all since this video, but we'll see how it goes. I'll see you guys next week. I get to go back and see my friends out Whataburger. I consider them friends, but I haven't talked to them in months now because I never got their phone number or social media and any of that stuff. So thanks for watching. Have a awesome day. I'll see you guys whenever, but you guys, we got to end the video. I never have a good exit intro. I don't know what it is, but thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in a week or two.